faith, family, freedom, hope, and opportunity. You're listening to Freedom Rings. I'm your host, Senator Marsha Blackburn. What an interesting life story, and so I am thrilled for him to join us here on Freedom Rings. So, Senator Scott, welcome very much.
It's great to be here. This will be fun.
Yeah, so it is.
I used to live in your beautiful state.
Yes, you
it's a beautiful state.
We enjoyed having you there in Nashville. It is a wonderful town and some really good people and even better food.
Yeah.
And even better music, So let's talk a little bit about you. You grew up where?
I was born in Bloomington, Illinois. I don't know my dad. I had a wonderful mom. We lived in public housing, and she eventually remarried and to a truck driver with a sixth grade education that did all the combat jumps in the Second World War. And so after they got married, he got a job as a truck driver in Kansas City. And then after high school, where I met my wife, I joined the Navy and had a great experience in the Navy. Swabbed the decks a lot, but it was a great experience.
So you went from high school to the Navy.
Yeah.
And then what was the biggest lesson you took from the Navy?
I think the biggest thing you learn in the Navy is that the chain of command works. You've got to have a process for things. The thing about the Navy is they have a process for everything, and it works. And so, you learn to use checklists, you learn to have process, and then you got to meet people from all over the country. And I served with people from, it seemed like every state. And I didn't go to Vietnam, but it was during the Vietnam War. And so it was a tough time because you couldn't wear your uniform off the base. People would, spit on you and scream at you. It's a tough time. It's like what's happened to our law enforcement right now. But it was a great experience to serve in the Navy and have a purpose. I mean, that's another great thing about serving. You have a reason for what you're doing every day.
That is fantastic. And then as you exited the Navy, you started doing what?
Yeah, I used the GI Bill.
Okay.
So you didn't back then. You didn't make a lot in the Navy. I started off making $144 a month, and I got married at 19 and got a job making $75 a week as a legal secretary. But we survived, and so when I got finished, I used the GI Bill. I went back because I'd worked in grocery stores all through high school. I went back into that job, and I worked full time. I went to school full time, and Ann went back and got her degree. I bought a donut shop for about $7,500 so my mom could have a job because my adopted dad was disabled by then, and she did unbelievably with it. And finished that, went to law school. I helped people buy companies for about 9 years. And then I started the hospital company, and I've done my life in sort of 9-year increments. So we did that for about 9 years. Now that's what brought me to beautiful Nashville. And then I did a variety of other businesses after that. And then eventually I decided to run for governor of Florida. And because here's my concern, and I think you and I you share this. I mean, there's no place to go. And this is it. This is the last bastion of freedom in the world. If we don't fight for all the things that we grew up with and the opportunities that we were given, then our kids and our grandkids are not going to have the same opportunity we had, and it won't be a great society. So I love to be. It's a great job to be the governor, and it's been a great job to be a U.S. senator.
That's great, and there are just so few governors who come on to the U.S. Senate. Some people think, well, that's a natural transition, but it's kind of a different set of issues.
It's different.
So what was the biggest surprise for you as you came from one to the other?
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you're the governor, up here you got great issues. So I love being a U.S. senator, and the things you and I get to work on are just, whether it's the budget, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's our armed services, whatever it is, you get to be involved in great issues. Mm-hmm. But as governor, you're the CEO of the state, And so you can change the prison system. You can change economic development. You can change the school system. You can do all these things. Now, you do work with your legislature, but you have a great bully pulpit that you can go try to push whatever you believe in. So it's a great job. But it's this place, trying to get, in the Senate 60 people to agree on something is not very easy. I think Mitch McConnell's got a pretty difficult job.
Yeah, and here in D.C., your favorite policy issue to work on, what would it be?
So first off, we've got 20 military bases in our state and 3 unified commands. So it's important we're both,
we sit next to one another on armed services.
Yeah, so that's important. Latin America, it's our biggest trading partner. So when I was governor, I did 15 trade missions, and primarily to Latin America. So what happens in Cuba and Brazil?
Taking care of our neighbors.
Yeah. So we've got to create democracy and also make sure that we get more trade. That's important. Getting healthcare costs down is.
Let's go back to Latin America. You learned to speak Spanish as governor.
Yo practico mi español todos los días. Es muy importante por 20% de personas en nuestro estado. It's really important in Florida. We have about 20% of our population speak Spanish, and so I practice it every day. And we do a lot of events in Spanish. It's a big issue, and we've got Cubans and Venezuelans and Argentinians and Brazilians and Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. It's a melting pot. I always said Florida is the best melting pot in the world, and it's a safe melting pot, and where you can get a good education, so everybody gets to have their chance at the dream of the country.
That is fantastic, and I appreciate how you took your time as governor to try to advance freedom in the region. Yeah. In Latin America, because we want our neighbors to be free and prosperous. Yeah,
you feel so sorry for people. Right now, what's going on in Venezuela, where little children are starving to death in a country that 40 years ago was the most affluent country in South America, and now they don't have food and medicine. So we did a lot of rallies. You just feel so sorry, and then Obama's appeasement of the Castro regime. When you hear a story of a lady that got her hand chopped off and the only thing she did, she complained that Castro was closing a school in her district or in her area. And you just think,
when you think about freedom, and of course this podcast is centered on the bounty and the benefits of freedom, free people, free markets.
Yeah.
So when you think in terms of freedom, looking at what you did as governor to focus on a region and to bring that forward and to really meet people where they are, learning to speak Spanish, and then bringing those lessons to the U.S., to the U.S. Senate, then what does that cause you to think when you think of freedom? What is like the priority within that for you?
I think the biggest thing is you get to make your own choices. Think of our parents. I mean, what they wanted is they told us we could be anything, right? And I want that to be true. I want that to be true for every child. I used to go to schools. It was so much fun. I'd go to schools in Florida and talk to the kids. And at first, tell them my background, because they're shocked that somebody could go from living in public housing to being the governor of a state. So first off, they're just shocked that could happen. And all my goal is to get them excited about they could be anything. And by the end, I told them all they could be the governor, and they believed that they could be the governor. That was my whole goal. I believe that this idea that we can be anything, that we have the freedom, it takes hard work and all those things, but if you want to be an artist, you can be an artist. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you can be an entrepreneur. If you want to be a politician, you can be a politician. That has to be true. And we all love the fact that in America you get to try things. And, you can win, you can fail, but you get to go try. That's not true around the world.
I asked a writer one day why they chose to move to Nashville, and they said Nashville is such a great creative community that it's no big deal if you fail.
Right.
That everybody there is trying something new every day.
I think that's absolutely true about Nashville.
That it's okay if you write a song, it's not a hit.
Yeah.
It's okay. And the next day you write another song,
Right.
and it might be a hit.
Just keep after it every day.
Yeah,
chip, chip,
that's
chip,
right.
chip away.
They said, but it's a great place,
Yeah.
to do that. It's so true what you're saying about freedom and being able to achieve. Going back to my book selling days, we would say what the mind can believe and conceive, you can achieve.
Yeah.
And I think that's very true. And it's a good lesson for kids. Okay, going back to the donut shop.
Yeah.
Do you still sometimes you can just smell those donuts?
Yeah. Only eat them when they're fresh, when
they're hot. And what is your favorite?
Oh, glazed.
Glazed.
Yeah.
You're just a traditional glazed guy.
Oh gosh, when they're hot, I mean, you could eat so many of them. You will feel good.
Right.
I don't eat many donuts now, but I'm not going to eat it unless it's right out of the. You want it right out as soon as the glaze is on. That's when you want to eat it.
There you
go. So I had a ball working with my mom in the donut shop. We tripled the sales, the revenues. We bought the donut shop. We tripled the sales the first month. So, and my mom sold books. She sold World Book.
There you go.
So I remember, and it was a feast or famine for her, because if she didn't get a sale, I mean, she really struggled to put food on the table. But
yeah,
she worked her butt off.
There you go. That's a great thing. Well,
yeah.
In a free country, you have the opportunity to work as hard as you want to work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you all. Freedom Rings. Thanks for listening in. Thank you for listening to this episode of Freedom Rings. You can follow me on Twitter at Vote Marsha, Facebook at Marsha Blackburn for Senate, and on Instagram at Team Marsha. And you can always find us online at marshablackburn.com. The Freedom Rings podcast is edited and produced by Jared Cummings. Executive producers are Conservative Partnership Center and Marsha Blackburn. Together, we make Freedom Ring.